I'm Larry Farver, and let's queer up trans rights. Experts warn the U.S. is entering the early stages of a trans genocide. Experts in genocide prevention are warning that the United States is showing early signs of a genocide against trans and non-binary people. The Lemkin Institute, a global genocide prevention organization, says escalating political attacks on trans, non-binary, and intersex Americans could lead to a mass atrocity. Multiple genocide scholars, including two former presidents of the International Association of Genocide Scholars, say U.S. policies could soon make life for trans people intolerable. Former IAGS president Dr. Henry Theriault says political shifts to the right have enabled what he called a blatant hatred towards trans people. Theriault said, quote, "I think we're already at the point for trans folks, for immigrants, where the damage is being done." So it's not so much will genocide happen as we've got to stop it from happening, end quote. In 2025 alone, 616 anti-LGBTQ plus bills were introduced across the U.S., most targeting trans people. Advocates warn that this rhetoric and policy push is rapidly escalating and could turn deadly if left unchecked. Well, doing a little research on this story, this is not the first time we've been in this in our history, going back to Nazi Germany, doing a little research. There was actually an Institute for Sexual Science founded by Magnus Hirschfeld over 106 years ago. And unfortunately, we all know what happened, unfortunately, during the Holocaust. And unfortunately, people who were trans or intersex or part of our LGBTQ community, which was not called that at the time, were often sent out to the concentration camps. And so, you know, it's scary that history can repeat itself. You know, I remember being in school as a young elementary school and middle school and high school, and having history teachers talk about not letting histories repeat themselves. And here we are. And, you know, it's terrible. It's eye-opening. I think, you know, hopefully, you know, we'll see some changes. I know there's a lot of positive things coming out, and we have a lot of positive players. You know, I'm proud to align myself as a volunteer working on a multimedia film company with Marriott's Mary Productions with, you know, Candace Kane and Dana Davis, and there are many other wonderful people in our community who make us proud, but I think we can't get too comfortable.
I mean, you just said that we can't get too comfortable. I think also the problem is, I mean, while our government is cyclical, right? You know, we vote people in, we vote people out. Unfortunately, the time that passes, even if you vote some of the people out and they try to reverse what has happened, the sentiment in the general public is already there. And I think what's most dangerous, and why this is interesting talking about genocide, is we're not talking about an actual, you know, government body or a person or a general, you know, rounding up the trans people and putting them in concentration camps. What we're talking about is that the rules and regulations that are going in effect are giving fodder and giving normal everyday people kind of the, oh, well, I can go and do this because it's no longer going to...
It's normalizing the abuse.
Correct.
Normalizing discrimination, normalizing abuse, make it seem okay for everyday Americans or everyday person to basically aim their ire at trans people or intersex people, or or in general, gay and lesbian, bi, and etc.
And that's even more dangerous.
Yes.
So there is a difference between awful acts being done to a community and genocide. You know, we do have to understand that there are legal definitions when dealing with genocide, but from, like, just to start, like someone with a graduate degree in political science, looking at, like, there's the legal definition, there's also the public perception definition, and I'm not shocked that the people using this language are not LGBTQ rights or trans rights activists, because the world just saw a genocide portray on our phones just over the last 3 years in Palestine. It was a very violent butchering, you know, there were images of kids trying to find their buried grandparents in rubble. Two Israeli organizations documented how it was genocide. That is a very different image than what trans people are experiencing bad things here. They're not experiencing that, and I fear that, like, using the term right now, even to just talk about a potential genocide, is going to land very inappropriately. It's like it's too, you know, there's bad things that could happen. Genocide's not the right word in this case.
I hear what you're saying, Alex, but I think we need to step back and say, how far is it going to go? I mean, whoever thought in this time we live in that we'd see what we're seeing. I mean, just the ridiculousness of who's running our country and people supporting that, intelligent people or supposedly educated and intelligent people supporting a leader who has people just blindly following him.
But genocide is specifically an attempt to fully wipe out a community. And it's not just kill them.
I'm going to bite my tongue because I'm going to at least agree with Alex. I think we do have to be careful of what we call things. One, we don't want to incite additional hysteria. It's not to minimize what's going on, because what is going on is an atrocity, and what is going on could potentially have irrevocable, could be bad. So I do agree with you. It's not genocide. What they're saying is that it could be genocide, which,
I mean, anything could be anything. Correct. If we're going to get down to it.
Agreed. Do we still need to do something about it? Absolutely. Do we need to stand up and start taking action against the laws and rhetoric that is happening? Absolutely. Do we need to start educating our neighbors who maybe say something snide or cross? Absolutely. But I do agree with Alex. We need to be careful in the way we phrase things, and we just need to call facts, and at this point, not try to, what I like to call ourselves, future fuck ourselves, because if we start calling something, then we end up sometimes getting there. And so I think everybody at the table is right. I think everybody has that notion that something is wrong and something needs to be done. But I think we need to be careful on some of the terms we put towards what's going on.
Well, certainly, I think our strength is also to present facts, our research. And, I hear your points. Using the word genocide might be strong, certainly at the point that we're in history. But the fact that there's some parallels going back, I mean, I don't have the exact name of the organization, but there were women's rights groups who were saying the same things they're saying now about, trans women being in sports and hyper masculine and hyper feminine and, just the judgments that were out there, not letting people in Berlin of all places live their lives. And they were eradicated. And I know we're not there yet.
That's the unfortunate thing is there's a difference between evil and genocide.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that what's happening to the trans community is not a targeted attempt to harm the community. I'm not saying it's not evil. It is. It's just genocide is a very specific term. These are experts in genocide, so they know that it's a specific term, even more so than I do. And so that's why I'm kind of like pushing back on them with this. It's like, you need to do a little bit more documenting how you feel like this is connected to it, but also like there really is, like, in our modern world, I really fear that not only are people more skeptical of the word genocide, but we were talking about normalizing. The current president and the last president both just helped make genocide a normal, okay thing on the international stage. It's scary to see what's happening in Sudan as well. But like, if we start saying it, I fear there's also the issue of that, well, then that makes it okay, because on the world stage, we're now starting to see awful things be okay. Like, I'm really scared about what we're going to do to the people of Venezuela, Cuba, Greenland, and possibly Canada. Like, they're all going to possibly be fitting the G definition as well if the current leader has his way. It's a very scary time, and I don't want to throw extra kindling on that today. Oddly, normally I want to do that, but today, I'll be calm for once.
Yeah, and I guess one last point. I hear what you gentlemen are saying, but I personally know people who identify in the trans community. And it's a big mental health issue. And when you 100%. Know people who have the right and have earned their place here and they vote and they contribute to society, contemplating leaving our country for mental health reasons, or worried that they're not going to have an outlet for having a career or working or being comfortable in their own community, even somewhere like Wilton Manors, Florida, you have to step back and look at that.
Yeah.
100%. And I don't think either of us are saying that. But leaving the country and eradicating all trans people are two different things.
And I understand.
I think that's where the slippery slope is, because I 100% agree. I have plenty of friends who are trans, and we have these conversations on a regular basis, especially with my organization, and it is troubling. And there's no other word for that as troubling. But to pony up what Alex said, we don't want to throw kindling on the fire. Because unfortunately, these rules, these regulations, all of this stuff that's being put into place by our current administration, both at local, state, and national level, are giving the normal everyday people this kind of backbone, as it were. And so if we start adding more of these terms and stuff on it, it makes it, in some of these people's mind, okay.
Like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
There's also this thing that, like, the way the term genocide is created, and it's more useful for communities that are not self-identifying LGBTQ. So, like, a key part of it is, like, wiping out the children of people. So, like, it's more useful when talking about ethnic groups than it is about LGBTQ identification. That's the other part of this, which makes it a little wonky and a very hard for pack. Like, we should be talking about, like, we should be preventing attacks on trans people.
100%. 100%. And there is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.